The strange message lit up every screen at Earth's Space Contact Center in Denver. It was 3 a.m. when Jack Wilson, the night shift operator, spilled his coffee across his keyboard. His eyes grew wide as he read the alien words now translated on his screen. "Sir, you need to see this now," Jack yelled down the empty hallway. Within an hour, 50 government officials packed the emergency meeting room. Senior Ambassador William Carter, a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes, stood at the front. His hands shook slightly as he adjusted his glasses. "The Julari have contacted us," he said, his voice quiet but clear. The room fell silent. Everyone knew about the Julari, the oldest, smartest aliens humans had ever found. They rarely spoke to younger species like humans. William touched a button. A strange symbol appeared on the wall screen, a spiral of blue light that seemed to move, though it was still. "They want us to join their galaxy group." Excited voices filled the room until William raised his hand. "There's more. To join, we must pass what they call the Sentry Trial." Dr. Susan Miller spoke up. She was the top alien scientist, known for her calm thinking and brilliant mind. "What exactly is this trial?" William sighed. "It's a test, a very long, very hard test. The Zulari make all new species take it before they can join their alliance. It tests how we solve problems, how we think about right and wrong, and how we might grow as a species." "How long does this test take?" asked Joe Green, a young diplomat who had just joined the team. William looked around the room slowly. 100 years. The room exploded with noise. People stood up, shouting questions and concerns. "That's crazy. We'll all be dead before it ends." "Is this some kind of joke?" General Mary Cook banged her fist on the table. "Quiet," she ordered, and the room settled down. She turned to William. "Has any species ever passed this test?" "Yes," William nodded. 17 species have passed it so far, none in less than 80 years. Most take the full 100. Dr. Miller studied the data on her tablet. "The Julari live for hundreds of years. For them, a century is like a decade for us. They're testing our patience as much as our brains." Sam Lee, a top scientist from the West Coast, raised his hand. "What happens if we pass? What do we get?" William clicked to a new screen showing stars and planets. "Everything. Access to their technology. Protection from hostile species. Trade with 100 worlds. Cures for diseases we haven't even named yet. Knowledge that would take us thousands of years to discover on our own." The room grew quiet as everyone thought about what this meant. "And if we say no?" asked General Cook. "Then we stay alone," William said simply, "and hope someone else wants to be our friend out there." For 5 hours they argued. Some wanted to accept immediately. Others thought it was a trick. A few suggested ignoring the message completely. William let them talk, watching the sun rise through the windows. Finally, when voices grew tired and the coffee ran out, he spoke again. "The Julari expect us to take our time deciding. They think we'll spend months just answering their message." He smiled slightly. "I say we surprise them." Dr. Miller looked up. "You have an idea?" "Yes. We accept the trial, but with our own twist. We tell them we're going to complete it as fast as possible, not in 100 years, not even in 10. "How fast?" asked Sam. William's smile grew wider. "As fast as humanly possible." 2 days later, a message went back to the stars. 3 days after that, a flash of light appeared over Denver as a Julari ship entered Earth's atmosphere for the first time. The Hawaii ship landed in a cleared field outside the city. It was beautiful, shaped like a leaf made of metal that changed colors with the sunlight. A crowd of scientists, soldiers, and government officials waited as a door appeared in the side of the ship. The first Julari stepped onto Earth soil. It stood 7 feet tall with skin that glowed like pearls. Its 4 eyes, 2 large ones and 2 small ones above them, blinked slowly as it looked at the humans. Where a mouth should be, there was only smooth skin that rippled when it spoke, through a small device on its chest. "We are surprised by your quick response," the alien voice said. "Most species spend years considering our invitation." William stepped forward. "Humans don't like to waste time. The alien's skin changed color slightly, from pearl white to a soft blue. That is unusual. You understand the century trial. We'll test your species completely, your science, your ethics, your ability to grow and change. We understand. William nodded. And we're ready to begin. The alien seemed confused. Its skin rippled with patterns of light. Now? You wish to begin? Now, yes, William said firmly. Today. And we intend to finish it as quickly as possible. The 6 Julari who had exited the ship looked at each other. Their skin flashed with patterns too quick for human eyes to follow. Finally, the first one turned back to William. Well, the century trial will begin immediately. We will observe your progress. Its head tilted slightly. Though we expect it will be many years before we need to check your results. William smiled politely. I wouldn't be so sure about that. The Old Mountain Research Base in Colorado became the home of the century trial team. The government cleared out the science labs and brought in new computers, sleeping rooms, and a big cafeteria that served food day and night. Within a week, 50 of the smartest people on Earth moved in. Dr. Alan Foster arrived last. He stepped off the helicopter, his wild brown hair blowing in the wind. At 42, he was younger than most experts in his field, but his work with thinking machines had changed how computers solved problems. The base commander met him at the door. Everyone's waiting for you, Dr. Foster, she said. Alan nodded, clutching his worn backpack. Sorry, had to finish something first. Inside the main meeting room, people sat around a large round table. They came from every part of the world. Scientists, doctors, computer experts, even artists and storytellers. William Carter stood at the front looking tired but happy. This is our team leader, William said as Alan walked in. Dr. Alan Foster. A woman with short gray hair spoke up. We've been here for days. Where have you been? Reading, Alan said, dropping his backpack. He pulled out a thick folder of papers. Everything we know about the Julari and their century trial. I wanted to understand the rules before we started breaking them. The room grew quiet. Breaking them? Asked Dr. Susan Miller. We can't cheat on this test. Alan smiled. Not cheating. Just thinking differently. He walked to the front board and picked up a marker. The Julari expect us to tackle these 100 challenges one after another. That's how every other species has done it. He drew a long line with marks for each challenge. But there's nothing in the rules that says we have to follow their order. He drew circles around groups of challenges. We can work on many problems at the same time. We have 50 brilliant minds here. Why use just one at a time? Pete Rogers, a young computer expert with glasses, raised his hand. The first challenge alone could take years to solve. The Julari left us with math problems that need massive computer time. That's because they expect us to use normal computers, Alan said. He turned to William. I need the new quantum systems from the Boston lab. William looked surprised. Those are still experimental. They're not stable yet. They'll work for this, Alan said firmly. Olivia Jones, an expert in alien thinking patterns, studied the first challenge details on her tablet. These problems are incredibly complex. Each one builds on the last. Or so they want us to think, Alan said. He began writing on the board again. Look at challenges 73 and 8. They seem unrelated, but they're actually asking the same question in different ways. If we solve them together, we save time. For 3 hours, Alan showed them a new way to look at the century trial. Instead of one long test, he saw it as a complex puzzle with pieces that could fit together in many ways. We need to split into 10 teams, he said finally. Each team handles a group of related challenges. We share all results daily. Nothing stays private. Every discovery helps everyone else. Dr. Frank Lee, a quiet man who rarely spoke, finally asked the question everyone was thinking. How fast do you think we can finish? Alan looked around the room at the curious faces. The Julari expect this to take a century. I think we can do it in under 6 months. Gasps and whispers filled the room. Impossible, someone said. Not for humans, Alan replied. The team set up working areas throughout the base. The cafeteria became Team 1's space. The gym held Team 3. Even the hallways had desks and computer screens. People worked in shifts, sleeping only when they had to. On the third day, the Julari observers arrived. 3 tall aliens with their shimmering skin walked through the base, watching the humans work. Their leader called himself Nexus. His skin changed colors as he moved, blue when calm, purple when curious. "Your approach is unusual," Nexus said to Alan. His voice came through a small translator box on his chest. "No species has ever tried to solve multiple challenges at once. That's because they think like you do," Alan said. "One step at a time, 1 year at a time. Humans don't have centuries to spare. We live short lives." "Short lives make for fast thinking?" Nexus asked. "Exactly," Alan nodded. "We don't have time to waste." The Julari watched Team 2 working on a complex space problem. Humans rushed around the room, arguing, drawing on clear boards, typing furiously on computers. "So much energy," Nexus observed. "So much noise." "That's how we work best," Alan explained. "Together, talking, arguing, challenging each other's ideas." Nexus's skin rippled with light patterns. The other species worked alone. Each expert took years to consider each problem before offering a solution. That explains why it took them so long, Alan said with a small smile. On day 7, Team 4 made the first breakthrough. They solved Challenge 22, a problem about moving energy between systems without losing power. The Julari observers gathered around as Lisa Chen, the team leader, explained their solution. "We didn't try to move the energy directly," she said, showing her diagrams. "We transformed it first into a new type that doesn't lose strength over distance." Nexus studied the solution for a long time. His skin turned a deep gold color they had never seen before. "This is correct," he finally said, "but not how we expected you to solve it." "Is there a right way to find the right answer?" Alan asked. "There are traditional approaches," Nexus replied. "Well, we're not very traditional," Alan said. By the end of the second week, 3 challenges were complete. The Julari observers spent more time watching and less time speaking to each other. Their skin patterns changed faster when they looked at the humans working. "They're surprised," Olivia told Alan over coffee one night. "Maybe even worried." "Good," Alan said. "Let's surprise them even more." 3 weeks into the Century trial, the team hit their first big problem. Challenge 33 sat like a mountain in their path. It asked them to create a way to power an entire planet without hurting its special air and land. The test world had strange rocks and a thick, heavy sky unlike Earth's. Dr. Richard Wells stared at the computer screens in the main lab. Dark circles showed under his eyes. He hadn't slept more than 4 hours a night for days. His team had tried 15 different energy plans. All of them failed. "Every model depletes the planet's resources too fast," he said, rubbing his tired eyes. "Nothing works for more than a generation." "That's because we're thinking like humans," said Karen Wright. She was older than most team members, with silver hair and quiet wisdom from years working on Earth's own energy problems. "We need to think like the beings who would live on this planet." "But we don't know anything about them," Richard said. "We know their world," Karen answered, "and that tells us a lot." The 2 scientists worked through the night studying the test planet data again. The Julari had provided detailed information about the world: its strange purple oceans, its thick atmosphere, its 3 small moons. "Look at this," Karen said suddenly, pointing to a chart. "The ocean water has 10 times more minerals than Earth's, and these gases in the air, they react to light in unusual ways." Richard nodded slowly. "So instead of fighting the planet's nature, we work with it?" "Exactly," Karen smiled. That morning, they called everyone together to share their new approach, but before they could start, a young man named Ben Howard walked into the room. He was the newest and youngest team member, so quiet that some people barely noticed him. I've been thinking about Challenge 33, Ben said softly. Alan looked up from his coffee. We're just about to discuss a new approach. I know, Ben said. But I think we're solving the wrong problem. The room grew quiet. Even the Julari observers who had been standing silently in the corner turned to watch. What do you mean? Alan asked. Ben walked to the main screen and touched a few buttons. A new model appeared, not of an energy system, but of the planet itself. We've been trying to create energy for the planet, Ben explained. But what if the planet itself is the energy source? For the next 30 minutes, Ben showed them his idea. It wasn't just a new energy system, it was a completely new way of thinking about energy. Instead of taking from the planet, his model worked with the natural cycles of the world, its strange tides, its mineral-rich waters, its reactive atmosphere. The planet doesn't need an energy system, Ben concluded. It is an energy system. We just need to connect to it properly. When he finished, no one spoke for a long time. Then Alan stood up and clapped Ben on the shoulder. This is brilliant, he said. How long have you been working on this? Since we started, Ben admitted. I've been running small tests at night, when the main computers were free. The Julari observers moved forward. Their skin patterns shifted rapidly from blue to gold to a deep purple no one had seen before. We would like to see this model in detail, Nexus said. His translator voice sounded different, higher, faster. Ben showed them everything. The Julari stood motionless, watching. When he finished, they stepped away and spoke to each other in their own language, a series of soft sounds and flashing skin patterns. After several minutes, they returned. This solution is, Nexus paused as if searching for the right word. Unexpected. No species has approached Challenge 33 this way before. Is it right? Alan asked. It is more than right, Nexus replied. It is elegant. That afternoon, the team began applying Ben's thinking to other challenges. If one problem could be completely redefined, perhaps others could too. We've been accepting the Julari's definition of each problem, Alan told the team. But maybe that's just how they see things. We need to look with human eyes. By the end of the 4th week, they had completed 12 challenges. The normal pace, according to Julari records, was 1 challenge every 4 to 5 years. One night, Alan found Lisa Chen sitting alone in the cafeteria, staring at her tablet. Can't sleep, he asked, sitting across from her. I've been reading about the other species who took the century trial, she said. The BRAC from the Orion system took 20 years just to solve the first 10 challenges. We did it in a month. We work differently, Alan said. But why? Lisa asked. Lisa, are we really that much smarter? Alan thought for a moment. Not smarter, just more urgent. Most alien species live much longer than we do. The Julari live for centuries, the BRAC for almost 500 years. They have time to think slowly, carefully, one step at a time. And we don't, Lisa nodded. Exactly. Humans live short, busy lives. We learn to do many things at once, to work together, to take chances. Our greatest strength isn't our intelligence, it's our impatience. The next morning, Challenge 47 fell, then 52, then 60. The Julari observers now followed, the humans everywhere, watching their every move, recording everything they said. Their skin patterns changed constantly, especially when the humans made new breakthroughs. I think we're scaring them, Olivia told Alan one day. Alan smiled. Good. They need to understand that there's more than one way to be intelligent. By day 38, they had completed 86 of the 100 challenges. The last 14 were the hardest. Complex problems about society, ethics, and the future. We're almost there, Alan told the team during their morning meeting. But the final challenges will test more than our brains, they'll test our hearts. On day 39, the team faced Challenge 99. Only 2 remained. The Julari had saved the hardest for last. Alan gathered everyone in the main hall. Some looked tired, with messy hair and wrinkled clothes. Others seemed excited, their eyes bright with the thrill of being so close to the end. Challenge 99 asks us to create a way for different species to live together peacefully for thousands of years, Alan explained. We need to build a system that works even as cultures change and grow. That's not a science problem, said Steve Baker, a mathematician. That's a people problem. Exactly, Alan nodded. And people problems are the hardest kind. The team split into groups to tackle different parts of the challenge. Some studied Earth's own history of peace and war. Others looked at animal groups and how they lived together. A few talked to the Julari themselves, asking careful questions about other alien societies. Dr. Olivia Jones led the main group. As an expert in how aliens think, she understood better than most how different minds could see the same problem in completely different ways. The mistake most people make, she told her team, is thinking everyone wants the same things. But different species want different things. What feels good to us might feel bad to them. They worked for 3 days straight. People slept on couches and floors, waking to continue where they left off. The Julari observers watched silently, their skin shifting through colors no one had seen before. On the third day, Olivia called Alan to her workroom. Papers covered every surface. Pictures and diagrams filled the walls. In the center stood a simple glass model of connected shapes. We've been thinking about this all wrong, she said. What do you mean? Alan asked. The Julari want a fixed system, rules that will work forever. But nothing stays the same forever. Cultures change, needs change, even beliefs change. Alan picked up the glass model. So what's your solution? Not a fixed system, Olivia said, but a living one. For the next hour, she explained her idea. Instead of creating rigid rules for peace, she had designed a system that could learn and grow. It worked like the human immune system, able to recognize new problems and adapt to them without destroying itself. The key isn't perfect rules, she explained. It's perfect listening. The system constantly checks how well it's working for everyone involved. When something starts to fail, it adapts. Alan studied the complex diagrams. This is brilliant, but will the Julari understand it? They seem to like things that stay the same. That's why I made this, Olivia said. She touched a button on her computer, and the wall screen lit up with a moving model of her system. It showed how different groups could live together, each following their own ways while still working as one community. It's beautiful, Alan said softly. They presented the solution that afternoon. The entire team gathered in the main hall, along with all the Julari observers. Olivia stood at the front, her voice steady as she explained their approach. When she finished, the room fell silent. The Julari stood completely still, their skin dark and unreadable. Finally, Nexus stepped forward. This solution is unlike any we have seen before. Is it acceptable? Alan asked. It is. Nexus paused, his translator making a strange sound. It is not what we expected. But does it work? Alan pressed. The Julari turned to each other, their skin flashing in rapid conversation. When they turned back, Nexus spoke again. We must think about this. We will return tomorrow with our answer. That night, no one slept. The team sat together in the cafeteria, drinking coffee and talking quietly. What if they reject it? Pete asked, his young face worried. What if we've been working in the wrong direction this whole time? Then we'll try again, Alan said firmly. That's what humans do. At dawn, the Julari returned. All 6 observers entered the main hall, wearing formal robes that shimmered in the morning light. The team gathered quickly, whispering nervously to each other. Nexus stood before them, taller than usual in his ceremonial clothes. His skin glowed with a soft golden light. We have studied your solution to Challenge 99, he said. His voice sounded different, warmer, less mechanical. For 10,000 years, the Julari have believed that perfect systems come from perfect rules. The room was completely silent. No one moved. Your solution contains no perfect rules, Nexus continued. Instead, it offers perfect adaptation. This is unexpected. It suggests that the best system is one that changes rather than one that remains the same. Alan stepped forward. And is that acceptable? The Julari's skin rippled with light. It is more than acceptable. It is enlightening. A cheer went up from the team. People hugged each other, some with tears in their eyes. 40 days of constant work had brought them here, to the edge of success. When the noise died down, Nexus spoke again. There is one challenge remaining. Challenge 100 is considered the most difficult of all. No species has ever completed it in less than 10 years. What is it? Alan asked. You must create a vision of what our two species might become. Together, thousands of years in the future, this vision must be both possible and worthy of pursuit. Alan looked around at his tired but determined team. How long do we have? Nexus's skin rippled with what they now recognized as amusement. The standard time allowed is 50 years. We'll have it for you tomorrow, Alan said. The Julari's skin flashed bright blue, a sign of surprise they had come to recognize well. Tomorrow? Nexus asked. Yes, Alan nodded. One day should be enough. As the Julari left, Lisa came to stand beside Alan. Can we really do it that fast? Alan smiled. We've already been working on it. We have? Everything we've done here, Alan said, has been building toward that final vision. We just need to put it all together. That night, the entire team worked as one. All the solutions, all the breakthroughs, all the new ways of thinking came together into a single vision of the future. Humans and Julari, growing together, learning from each other, becoming something greater than either could be alone. As the sun rose on day 41, they were ready to present their final challenge. On the morning of day 42, the humans were ready. They gathered in the main hall, everyone wearing clean clothes for the first time in weeks. The walls displayed their vision, moving images of future cities, space stations, and new worlds, where humans and Julari worked together. The Julari entered in a formal line, wearing robes that changed colors with each step. More aliens had arrived during the night, important leaders who had traveled across space to witness this moment. Alan stood at the front, with Olivia and Ben beside him. His voice was calm as he began to explain their vision of the future. Don't see our species simply living alongside yours, he said. We see us growing together, learning from each other's strengths. The images on the wall showed human creativity mixing with Julari wisdom, new technologies that neither species could have built alone, cities that changed and adapted to the needs of both kinds of people. Humans move quickly, Alan explained. We try new things, take risks, sometimes make mistakes. The Julari move, carefully, thinking deeply, planning for centuries. Together we balance each other. When he finished speaking, the room was silent. The Julari leaders stood perfectly still, their skin glowing with colors humans had never seen before. Finally, Nexus stepped forward. Behind him, the other Julari leaders' skin flickered with rapid patterns. They were talking to each other without words. Representatives of Earth, Nexus began, his voice filling the room. When we offered the century trial to your species, we expected, as we have with all others before you, that generations would pass before its completion. He paused, his skin shifting to a bright gold color. Instead, you have completed all phases in 42 days. This is not merely surprising. It was thought to be impossible. Alan stepped forward. Have we passed the trial? You have done more than pass it, Nexus said. His voice sounded different now, warmer, almost human. You have changed the trial itself. The lead Julari, an older alien whose skin glowed with a deep blue light, moved to stand beside Nexus. For 10,000 years, the elder said through his translator, we have tested other species the same way. We designed the century trial to find those who think as we do, carefully, slowly, deeply. The elder's skin rippled with light. None of us thought to ask, what if there are other ways to be wise? The room was completely silent. No one moved. Humans complete in days what takes others decades, the elder continued. Not because you are smarter, but because you are different. You work together in ways we never considered. You question everything, even the questions themselves. Alan smiled slightly. That's just how humans are. And that, said the elder, is exactly what our Confederation needs. The elder turned to the other Julari leaders. They all raised their hands together, their skin flashing in perfect unison, a sign of agreement that needed no translation. Julari Confederation formally recognizes humanity as having successfully completed the Century Trial, Nexus announced. Furthermore, we propose an immediate alliance between our peoples. The humans cheered, hugging each other. Some cried with relief and happiness. After 6 weeks of constant work, they had succeeded beyond anyone's dreams. Later, as the formal ceremonies began, Alan found himself standing beside Nexus. I have to ask, Alan said quietly. Was there ever really a need for the trial to take 100 years? Nexus's skin shifted to a pattern that humans now recognized as a smile. That, Alan Foster, is exactly the kind of question that makes your species so valuable to us. The alien looked out at the celebrating humans. Welcome to the stars. We think you'll help us see them in entirely new ways.